Welcome back, everyone. First podcast of 2024 for the 10PDC podcast. Coach Gina here. I got Mark in the background over there. He's no mic today because we got a special guest, Coach Rich, our 6 a.m. specialist, jiu-jitsu Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6 a.m. Rich has been coaching with us for a few years now, and we wanted to get him on the podcast, talk a little bit about himself, and get more guests this year on the podcast. That's been one of our goals. After our last podcast with Eugene, we had some good feedback, and we were wanting to get more guests on the podcast. So, Coach Rich here. Coach Rich, tell us about how, first let's talk about who you are, like where you're from, and how you got started with all this jiu-jitsu stuff, man. So I'll leave it off to you.
Yeah, I kind of just started on a whim, and people like to dog on people for New Year's resolutions. I'm definitely a New Year's resolution kind of guy.
Okay.
But I was island time. I started in February. So instead of in January, New Year's resolution.
February, what year?
I started. What was it? 2017. Yeah.
2017 you started, and how'd you get started in discovering jiu-jitsu?
Man, like I said, it was just on a whim. I think I was a product of just, like Facebook ads.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You weren't watching the UFC or anything, or you weren't?
That was it too. Definitely, just watching UFC. Yeah, just casual MMA fan, and then that's when EBIs were. I think they just got on Fight Pass.
Yeah,
so
EBIs was popular.
EBI 8, EBI 9, and then I saw Mike and I saw Adam competing, and I was like,
really?
Wow. And then because they were representing the San Francisco location.
They weren't on the same card. Adam and Mike were different.
No, I think it was.
You guys don't know Adam, San Mateo, 10 Planet San Mateo, and then Oakland, Michael Hildebrand. So those are the Mike and Adam he was referring to. So you saw them on EBI, right? Or you saw ads for them on EBI, and then you saw that they were local from around here. Okay.
Yeah, and then so seeing Adams there, I was in and out, and that's why I was kind of transitioning. It was kind of a, weird time in life where I was kind of working, I was kind of wanting to go to school, so I had some time, just wanted to try something new. It was more fitness, to be honest. And then saw that there was one in San Mateo. I was working in San Mateo at the time, so I said, oh, that's right near where I was working, and then just kind of joined on a whim, never left. Okay.
So, you start the jiu-jitsu journey, right? And how old are you at this time?
How old is I? I want to say 23.
23. Done with college and everything, right?
Just done. That's why, So I was in between jobs and stuff, looking for, part-time work, full-time work,
Okay. So you weren't at the full-time gig yet. You were.
Not yet.
Okay. So backtracking even more, you're local here, right? You grew up in Daly City, right? We went to the same high school, right? We were in the same almost class, right, Rich? So growing up in Daly City, right? Were you doing any kind of martial arts, sports, or anything like that, or any kind of athletics?
Nah, I was a filthy casual. I was just watching UFC.
Okay.
Just playing drums in
high
school.
This is kind of the first real sport that you were doing?
Yeah.
Right? And you're doing music before. I know you and Mark used to have a little band. If you guys didn't know, maybe get a little guest spot on that. But, we're talking about jiu-jitsu. You were really kind of like new as a martial artist when you started jiu-jitsu.
Completely. Yeah, I think the most physical thing I did was like park and rec as a kid. I wasn't doing anything. Yeah, I was super skinny. I barely reached I think 100 pounds or something in middle school.
Oh wow. So not really the athletic type growing up. Interesting enough. And then so once you got to 2017, right? 2017, 23, you're like, I need to do something physical. That was like the mindset. I need to do something to get moving.
Yeah, I was getting pretty big. I think I just came
you're getting heavy. That's classic.
I think my heaviest I think I was about 189.
Okay.
Just regular physical stuff, just trying to do weights or whatever. I think when I joined the gym, I was high 70s, so like 177, something like that.
This was all self-initiated. You didn't have a friend like, hey, come to jiu-jitsu, or like someone trying to like continue to pester you to get in there?
No, I don't think so. I mean, me and Mark were just casual fans of UFC or anything like that, and like I said, just kind of when I said, you know what,
right,
jiu-jitsu always was the part that seemed interesting, and MMA and intriguing and confusing, to be honest. But and Adam had at the time, he had kickboxing as well, so I joined in for that just because I was able to do both at the time.
Okay. So now we're talking about your first year's training, right? You started training, and then you started to really like it. I'm sure, like it was the beginning days of jiu-jitsu, as you know, it's very, very new. It's refreshing. It's something different, something that really you don't get to have an experience with a lot. So now you're going into your training, and then tell me about like the first couple years of you getting into the training.
Yeah, first year was pretty consistent, just kickboxing, and that was, about an hour, and then beginning jiu-jitsu, advanced jiu-jitsu, so I was training a lot, sometimes 6 a.m. too, so I don't know.
So you were in the 6 a.m. rhythm again?
Yeah, okay. Several times a week.
Okay, nice.
That was fun.
Okay. All right, very good. Now, oops, sorry. Oh, we got to take a quick pause, people. I'll be right back with the podcast. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back and ready to rock again. So we're talking about the early days of jiu-jitsu for Rich. Now, Rich, again, early days of jiu-jitsu, first couple years, right? You're at San Mateo. Tell me about that experience.
Man, first couple years, I was doing Muay Thai, I was doing jiu-jitsu, and then, I don't know, after a couple years, I think a year and a half, whenever you joined, I was doing both. So I was doing 6 a.m. at that time, 6 a.m. class with Alan a little bit, just because I was finalizing work. Then I think I was doing around 8 p.m. I was coming in late to the 7 p.m. classes at Daly City. So those first years, I was just trying to get into training when I could. I'd say not rolling as much. I'd say I was doing more drilling just because I was getting a different work schedule too.
You were when you came to Daly City, started training, cross-training with us, you were already a blue belt, right?
Yeah, I think I had just gotten my blue when he opened up.
And how was that experience like when you first got your blue?
Oh, man, that was, I mean, I think I have imposter syndrome like everyone.
Oh, really? You didn't think you deserved it?
I only had one competition at that point. Yeah, so just one competition. And I got smoked my first.
As a white belt.
Okay. Yeah. And then I got smoked my first one at blue. I had 4 losses. I got subbed less than a minute for all of them.
Okay. But then that experience taught you a lot.
It did teach me a lot, yeah. And I think I had a bad habit blue too. I didn't want to. I think for me, I didn't want to tap on time, so I had to learn. How
you
to
were hurt
in comp, so I would almost hurt myself.
So those first competitions, was that something that like Alan or Adam encouraged you to do, or you just kind of saw it, you want to sign up for it, or what was like the decision, like, you know, as a person not growing up in athletics, just having that, like, hey, let me try competing. You know, what was that? Were you inspired by your team and the other teammates?
It was 100% that. So when I joined, I didn't know it was a thing, right? I just saw it on Fight Pass. So to me, I thought there was only, you know, jiu-jitsu kind of professional events like EBI and stuff. Right. So when I joined, right when I joined, you know, they're saying, oh, go to Naga and go to this grappling industries. And I thought, what's a Naga? What's a grappling industry? So what are those? And then when I, you know, I had no idea what they were. I knew they were competitions. So I was expecting, you know, a little bit. But then when I came there, I said, "Oh, whoa! This is like what I did back in the day. It's like park and rec, but with adults." People had lawn chairs. They were rooting for each other. I said, "Oh, this is really cool." So once I think I went to 1 or 2 of them, and I actually dropped.
You watched first, right?
Yeah, I watched first. I actually dropped out. I think I was supposed to do a jiu-jitsu by the bay, but I didn't know anything about weight cutting, and I think I got sick.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so then
eventually my first.
You got sick from the weight cut, or you got sick just coincidentally?
Nah, I got sick coincidentally. I probably wasn't eating the right things. I was just guessing.
Okay. So when your first competition, what promotion was that, or what?
First comp, it was definitely just white belt. It was grappling industries. So
grappling industries.
4 matches. That was fun. Yeah. We had a big crew.
The round robin, right?
I think you might have been there too. I can't even remember.
Yeah, maybe. I think there was a bunch of us competing.
There's a lot of NorCal people, and that was cool.
But that was what year? 2018, the year after you started, or the same year?
That was I think 2018.
No, I was probably there. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting enough. Now, at this time, I know Mark. If you guys don't know, Rich and Mark cousins, right? Mark was training at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And then he started with us because you recommended to train with us. Is that right?
I did, yeah. I think I kind of nudged his shoulder just a little bit.
Right. And you had this, and by that time, I know Mark was training, City College, right, Mark? City College? Or what was the?
Yeah, I think he was training at another spot.
I forgot, you do have
a mic.
At
a gi school.
What is it, Mark?
It was Rise Combat.
Rise Combat, that's right. So he was at Rise, getting a little training. And then, so he was there, and then he wanted to try this no-gi style, right? You recommended him come through. Did you recommend him in the beginning to, start off trying the gi or no gi, or because you started no gi straight away, right? You didn't try in the gi.
Yeah, I didn't try in the gi. Honestly, I don't know what it was. Something about the gi, and I think just watching UFC and stuff, you're used to Eddie Bravo and Joe Rogan say those 10th Planet names. You see, I think back in the day, you see all the old submission videos. They were kind of 10th Planet names before YouTube was big.
So, Rich, you were a real purist like me. But like a lot of the guys who start with the gi and then they kind of go to switch over to no gi. But I never started in the gi at all. I think the same kind of sentiments. Like we all started in that no gi style, right? Which is, again, either way is fine. It's just having that kind of perspective where you never really threw on the gi. I didn't, other than Halloween, I didn't really throw on the gi and really practice on the lapel chokes or like the wrist grabs and collar ties and everything. So you kept training, right? So we talk about once you started, and then you get into this routine, right? It's like jiu-jitsu becomes part of your lifestyle, right? You got your family in it now. You get more family members into it. You're doing it. You're having fun. Now, the point when it starts to get down into coaching, right? And then you start to make that transition to coaching. What was that transition like for you? I know we gave you some opportunities, but from your perspective, what was your first like inklings in teaching and coaching?
Yeah, I think it happened by accident too. Like even just training, right? It was on a whim, and then even competing, kind of just on a whim. Everyone's doing it, right? So might as well. And then the 6 a.m. class, it was pretty much me and Mark, right? And then it was pretty half and half. It was pretty even. And then
6 a.m. class over here, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
6 a.m. class over here. And then over time, I know Mark got really busy outside of the gym. So as far as work, then it just kind of fell in line. I was, oh yeah, for sure, I'll take over, some of the other classes. And then soon we got a pretty consistent group. And I'll be honest, I wasn't coaching that much because I was working weekends at the time. So it was hard for me to go to all the events and stuff like that. But definitely, as time as time passed, more people started being interested in competing.
Right,
I said,
right.
let me change my work schedule so I can make some of these competitions.
Nice,
and
nice.
then, just kind of just started following them, and other, people from NorCal or anything said, oh, yeah, are you going to be there? I was like, oh, yeah, I'll be there. Like, oh, can you help coach? Because the coaching ain't going to be there that day or something like that. I was like, yeah, if I can. So I think it just kind of naturally just fell in.
Right.
On my
So-
lap and just try to help people out.
So at first, right, you when you started coaching, right, a lot of us in the early days, when I started 10th line, they say I was a brown belt, right, and then whenever I started getting guys to blue and up, I had them start to help with coaching and start doing stuff so I can get some support, right. So I had a lot of blues coaching, but you got your purple belt in 2000 what 19?
That was I think 2020. Yeah, right at the beginning, pretty much almost
Was it
right when
2020?
the 6
Okay, so
a.m. started.
but you I felt like you were coaching with us. What year did you start coaching for us? I believe maybe 2019, right? 2019.
Right before that, yeah. So I think technically I was still blue belt.
So you were still at that point where you were having this transition, right, from absorbing knowledge to sharing knowledge, right, going into that period. Now, when you started like learning how to coach and how to teach, right, was that something you had a experience with beforehand, or was that something you just kind of made up on the job? Like, I know you worked with like children, you work with kids, right? Does that background help with your coaching and everything?
Oh, 100%. I think that was my cheat code a little bit. So yeah, when asked about it, just the classes, Mark kind of was, busy with his thing. So I took over a little bit more classes. I just went kind of right into teaching mode. So yeah, fortunate for that. So as far as my degree and kind of teaching background for that, yeah, I definitely just pulled straight from there.
Okay.
Just started lesson planning right away, treating all the students like that right away, or teammates and training partners. So just started to apply those concepts.
Because I was adamant pretty much when we started. It's like, I am not teaching no 6 a.m. classes. Mark and Rich are like, dude, we need the 6 a.m. to go pop off. I was like, if you guys want to do it, you guys can do it. At the first couple months, we were just doing 7 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday. That was just our class, 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. right? And then like they were starting to get this growth where again we started doing afternoons, and then the 6 a.m.s wanted to get going. But again, it was just like I didn't have enough bandwidth to continue to commit to enough of those classes. So I said, if you guys commit to 6 a.m., we'll make it happen. So it became this thing where with a lot of folks, a lot of gyms, 6 a.m. is a very important slot, right, of time, like, because it's the time before work. A lot of time before kids get up and wake up, so parents get to go in and try to get their workout done. And again, it's a time period when everyone can start the day off right, and you are big on that, right? So because I know you've been doing that like before we even had the 6 a.m. here, because Alan would have the 6 a.m. in San Mateo, and again, all the folks who do 6 a.m., it's like a special group, a special breed of people, right, who have that allowance in their schedule, who make that time in their schedule for it, right? So for you, what's that 6 a.m. team or that 6 a.m. crew? What is that to you? What does that mean to you? What is something special about that group?
Oh man, it's everything. I think even with Alan's, just with that morning crew too. Yeah, I remember everyone in the beginning, right? And then I think there's just a unspoken disrespect, like you're getting up at 6 a.m. Like I think Adam said it at the last kind of holiday party. He's like, yeah, 6 a.m. it's a grind. Like you got to be disciplined to do it. But to be honest, I think we all just kind of know that and just are dedicated to that, because man, if it wasn't for the 6 a.m. class, I know a lot of the people who are in that class, like you probably wouldn't see them, right?
Right.
It's the only thing
I have a hard time remembering it. In the beginning days, it was like 3, 4, 5 people, but then now it's come up to like 12, 20 sometimes, depending on the day. And it turns it's great, even though I don't get to have that relationship with everyone, they have a good coach who they can work with, and someone that they can rely on. And that's the biggest thing, is like when we started the classes, I was I was worried about, quality. Quality of classes is always a huge thing. Like, is the instructor equipped and ready for it, But you start to see the trajectory of how it starts to, build. People are complimenting and people are showing up. And that's the biggest thing, people showing up, right? Once people started showing up, it showed that, hey, we got something here. And I think that was the biggest takeaway from me is that, once we have the people showing up, that shows that it's working, and then that's going to help us to continue to make sure we feed that program into the right space. So for you, once you see now, right, with the 6 a.m. crew, what you see with this group, what are you seeing now, like as far as like the future for like some of these, not necessarily just the class, but all the competitors in that class, and what you're seeing from, you don't have to mention names or anything, but what you see from potential talent in that group and everything.
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing now, and I don't know if I'm gonna answer it, and you can re-ask it too, but I think the beautiful thing now is, like you said, like sometimes it gets to 20-something people in there. So we have the people who are hobbyists, the people who they've told me, like, I ain't trying to compete, Rich, and that's beautiful, So we got the practitioners in there just daily, just getting super, super technical. Then we have kind of the competitors, and then we have the competitors who are, I feel like they go to the 6 a.m. class for extra credit, and I know too, we call it 6 a.m. plus. Those competitors, they stay six to whatever time during the day. So
y'all owe me rent. Some of you owe me rent.
They're getting a lot of extra credit mat time, just even when class is done. They're asking me questions. They're getting extra rounds in. They're doing other situations. And then you have, I feel like the newer people who maybe they're just kind of, come in for self-defense or anything, and they'll kind of trickle in. Maybe, they'll kind of click in with the hobbyists or click in with the competitors too. So I feel like the 6 a.m. class now is, you have just everyone from different walks of life, now that it's pretty settled in now,
So goals for yourself as a coach, as not not pertaining to 6 a.m. only, but overall, what are things you're looking forward to in your jiu-jitsu journey nowadays?
I'll say this now for 2024 because it too. The first we just came back from Worlds.
Right.
Yeah, so Adam and Alan asked me, before when I was blue and purple, and it just didn't work well with the work. I would have to take time off, everything like that. But I was finally able to this time, and just coming in with the Daly City crew and with the San Mateo crew, that was fun. So as far as competing, I definitely want to be more consistent. This is the purple belt. I'll be honest, I was a little chunkier. Yeah, I was a little lax.
A little too chill.
I was competing at weight classes a little bit above, but I had to get used to it, just work and just lifestyle and everything. But I think this is the lightest I've been in a long time. So just holding myself accountable for it.
Yeah, I think the transition period between becoming a seasoned competitor versus just starting off and getting used to it is important. You need experience in the beginning. You don't need to be cutting weight in the beginning. You need to just understand where your skills are. Some people don't need to cut weight. Some people need to gain weight. Some people need to stay at their weight. Some people need to drop. So you've had this experience with your weights, and like competition wise, you kind of know where you want to go now and where you want to test yourself. So by all means, that's something that you need to do as a competitor. So Worlds, we can definitely look at this year again. Competitions, getting more steady right for you. Looking forward. You just got your brown belt in 2023 last year, right? A few months ago. How many?
July, definitely in the summer.
Yeah, it's been a brown belt. So now as a brown belt, you're one step away to becoming, the quote unquote professor, the you doing black belt and everything. And time flies when you think about it like that. But now, look, achievements that you're looking for as a brown, trying to get to compete more, trying to work more. Now, as how about for your students? What are you looking for your students?
As far as expectations out of them?
Yeah, and goals, some things you'd like to see at the future, and like maybe whatever it is, maybe build like a bigger class, like you want to get to 30 people per class, or what you want them to compete more. What is your expectations when you come down to thinking about your students?
Yeah, Mark's a big one on this, and we've kind of had it on the shelf. I think the 10 Planet warm-ups is a big one because because we got the competitors there, and just holding myself accountable, competing alongside with them too, right? And then just being able to get the regular training in and just growing in general. But that's when I think me and Mark, as far as homework, we want to get those down too.
Okay, yeah. The thing is,
we've gone away from it, but I think for the people that we have been. Because it was kind of just me, Mark. I know John was doing it too, but then showing some of the newer students, some of the 6 a.m. people have been practicing them too. So I think that's going to be a fun one.
The warm-ups again, it's just I can't have 100% confidence to teach them because I don't remember them myself, right? The thing is, if you're going to teach something, you should know it. So like the warm-ups is something that I definitely can do slowly, and if I have able to slow it down, but the warm-ups is always being evolved. The warm-ups,
Yeah,
10 people. If you guys don't know, we're not talking about regular warm-ups. We're not talking about just the shrimps and the warm-up. If you guys don't know the 10 Planet warm-up system, Eddie's system for all his advanced classes, then go look it up. You guys will see what we're talking about. It is a very complex warm-up. It's not necessarily meant to have like technical breakdowns. It's meant to go flow, move through transitions, and get your body mechanics down, and just get the mobility down. So it is a challenge. So we definitely would like to get that with the new expansion of the gym, which we're talking about currently. Is we're going to be looking at adding more classes to the schedule, hopefully expanding more for our students, and more services, more classes, all that good stuff. So warm-ups definitely is doable, and we definitely would like to see that happen. And competition-wise, right? Competition-wise for your students, I'm sure you're looking at trying to get these guys to win and win. But what are, other than that, what are you looking forward for your students to achieve with jiu-jitsu in general?
Yeah, definitely the ones have, come up to me. Definitely, they say they want to get on that podium.
Yeah.
So I'm there to, help them alongside that. Definitely in the training too. So out of that, I think just different types of training, just the competition training. I've been kind of, asking all the different instructors at a mountain how they do certain things, and just kind of popping in and getting their insight on stuff. So yeah, that's a secret though. I can't tell.
That's all good. So have you found it different or weird or something about playing into this coach role now, as you've been into this role for a minute, right? And do you feel comfortable in it? Is something that's coming natural to you, or is it still kind of like you said, imposter syndrome situation that you're dealing with?
Yeah, I think it'll always kind of be right. You never really know. But yeah,
right,
I think in the beginning, definitely being a little bit selfish, just naturally like white belt, blue belt, just trying it out. And definitely by that time, just being the instructor role, I think there was, just kind of had to grow into it, and, the instructor role. So I was competing, a lot less at purple belt too. I took some long times off. And I just think now recently just finding the balance of, doing training for myself, training dedicated to the students and the teammates there. So I think it took me a little while to just find the better balance of being.
You're kind of in the groove now, though.
Yeah,
right?
I'm in the groove.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I feel like it too, because from the third person perspective, again, I come into class whenever I can. Maybe I've come in on a handful of times to class, just maybe to do a promotion, a few times to roll. But I see the growth as an instructor, and I see the vibe. I feel the vibe when I get in here for the 6 a.m. It's a great vibe. It's a great energy, and that's what a lot of people lack with their classes. That is a huge part of it. If you don't have a good energy in there, if you don't have a good vibe, people will not be attracted to come to your class. It's not about just the technique or how good the roles are. You got to feel welcome, and that brings a different community in, right? It not only will it bring in people who just want to learn jiu-jitsu, it'll bring people who want that community side. So for you, again, what was the question I was thinking of? I had a question in regards to, your class structure. Now, let's give everyone who hasn't done a 6 a.m. class a little breakdown of what it's like. Are you guys pretty sharp? You're starting on time? Are you guys doing what does it look like in the morning daily routines? You get in here at what time?
Yes. Before it opens, 5:45 every day has to be super necessary.
Okay.
But yeah, like you said, I think just coming from, just kind of the teaching and just kind of the pedagogy and just everything behind that has to be on time. Right. Has to be consistent too. And it took a while. I feel like, I had to change it over time and adjust, but I feel like now is a good balance of all beginners, intermediate, and advanced people, but a breakdown of how we structure it.
So you get that you get in here 5:45, right? You start class at 6, right? And then what's this class structure look like for you?
Yeah, so this has changed over time. So warm up pretty much 3-4, maybe 5 minutes. That's pretty much 6 to 6:05, and I do it a little bit differently. And I think this is one of the good things that came out after being closed down in 2020. Remember when we had the ninja stickers?
Yeah.
Everyone had to warm up by themselves. I technically do that.
Socially distanced.
I keep it pretty informal, but I let people. So if they want to go down the mat, trim down the mat, by all means, go ahead.
Right.
But then I pretty much, sometimes I'll write it on the whiteboard of, all right, these are 5, these are 6 warm-ups that we're going to do. So let's say
I'm sure we got the people who are there on time, right? And then the laggers coming in 6:30. We see you 6:45, 6:50, right? We just want to come in a roll. So you get a little group in the beginning to start the warm up, right? Okay.
Yeah. So whether it's just bridges, shrimps, reverse shrimps, forward rolls, knee slides, stuff like that.
5-10 minutes, right?
5 minutes exactly. I'd say 30-45 seconds each. But those are pretty much going to be related to the moves of the day. So,
good.
If we're not doing,
so you change it according to the moves of the day.
I change it every day.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You're not a stagnant warm up. Yeah, I get kind of lazy. I just kind of keep the same warm up drill every now and then. But, you go to that's good. Specific warm ups for techniques of the day.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Yeah, so let's say we're doing Granbys that day. You know you're going to have to do Granbys, or you know you're going to invert for the drilling that
Right,
day.
right.
If you're doing a lot of wrestling, you're going to do a lot of knee slides.
Right,
You're
right.
going to do a lot
I see.
of sprawls. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I would say 30, 35 minutes of drilling, and that's just, what we do, just kind of the static drilling, devils in the details kind of stuff. And then situationals, I'd say most I try to do as long as possible, but I'd say probably 8 minutes.
But you
10
do that
minutes.
consistently every class. Situational is always in the class.
Yeah, I would say the situationals are probably as long, if not longer, than the rounds. And then this is different.
Of live rounds.
Of live rounds,
Okay.
And then we'll end the class with, it depends. I'll try to get 2 4-minute rounds in just so it's fast paced. Sometimes I'll, throw them off. I'll do 3 threes, maybe.
Shorten the rounds up, make them go higher
I'll
pace.
say, all right, this is
I
just
gotta
gonna
do
be
that
one
more.
round there.
Okay.
And then pretty much at 7 o'clock, I just open, man.
Gotcha.
But I
You
try
just
to do
let
as
them rock
many
and roll.
situations. Yeah, and I think I'm just biased because Adam, for the beginning class, I think it was about like 6:30 to 7:30, and advanced was 7:30 to 8:30. And when I started, there was
AM, PM?
that was evening.
Okay,
That was
gotcha.
Beginnings class, but
Right.
I just remember, doing situationals a lot in the beginning.
Situationals are huge. That's
I
like
think it's
live rolling. You can definitely learn from, but situationals you're specifically learning from a certain situation that you. Some
Yeah.
people get caught in a lot. If you're not doing situationals, then you're lacking a big piece of your game because you need to have an answer in every situation, and if you don't, get into situationals with that specific situation. That's the key right there. You gotta rewind. Don't jump ahead. Don't try to continue to progress into a different part of the sequence if you don't have this certain defense or this certain part of it down. I feel like that's huge. People don't want to slow down though. People want to learn everything all at once, but the slowing down is where you really understand and learn. So I like the system. I like the structure of the class. Obviously it's working and we're seeing success. A lot of people are developing fast. I'm like, some of the 6 a.m. guys, I'm rolling with them. I'm like, what the hell? Who taught you this stuff? How do you this good? I've seen you like once or twice, and I'm just super impressed. So you're doing something right there. So very, very important. You guys have that little bit of like variation, like of your class. It's not ever the same, right? It's always kind of building off of what are we doing today, right?
Yeah.
And now with that structure, like say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, are you doing those same techniques the week or 2 weeks, or are you changing it up every day?
Yeah, this is different too. So I think with Mark, so I don't know when me and Mark did it. I gotta ask him, maybe check the date. But Fridays we pretty much dedicate to EBIOT. So either the back or spider web. So
that's good. So if you guys want to do EBIOT, that's the Friday morning is the day, right?
And then it'll change. Maybe I'll make it longer, but I would say pretty much we'll do 3 days offense, 3 days defense. So that makes for 3 weeks, right? So let's say Monday, Wednesday, and the next Monday's offense, and then that Monday, Wednesday would be defense. And of course, I'll change it up every now and then. But I do feel like sometimes if it's a whole month, sometimes you see people that are like, oh man, maybe they hate guillotine. They're like,
you do a whole month of guillotine. I think that's a little much, but you stray away from that. Is it pretty much a weekly basis?
Yeah, I would say usually a week to 3 week. I would say usually.
Okay, gotcha. That's good. So and then there's no set. We do a bi-weekly schedule. That's the way I came up with Eddie. I know it's long gone. Eddie doesn't even do that anymore, but I do a bi-weekly schedule, 2 weeks of technique, of specifics, whether it be offense, defense, relative positions, relative moves, and I kind of like build off of that kind of rubric, right? But you're doing it in kind of like not as standard. It's not always 2 weeks. It's not always 1 week. Sometimes it get extended 3 weeks.
I try to. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. For example, we were doing arm drags today. So arm drags going into burrito grips.
Okay.
Shout out to all the
Okay.
people who just
And then you're
have
gonna run
right
that.
there.
You're gonna run that for this rest of this week, right? Or
Rest of this week. Yeah.
okay, and then next week too, maybe, or possibly
Going into next week, probably. Yeah.
Gotcha.
We're
Okay,
just,
okay.
Yeah, getting all
so
those grips.
so the group kind of knows like what we're relatively right if they come to if they're regular students, right? They'll kind of have understanding what's going to happen, right? Gotcha. Okay, so now trying to relate to those who like for me, for example. I need to know some tools on how do we get to 6 a.m. What does your routine look like? Because I see you guys in here. You're in here sometimes late too on Tuesday, Thursday nights, and like, how are you gonna get up for the next morning class? But you guys are there regardless. And like, what is that look? So again, coming back to the schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? Sunday nights, for the most part, you just you're hitting the head. You're hitting the head at what time? Like what time you get in bed?
Man, I got this tip from Alan. So big dog Alan, thank you for that. He says, the success rate, you got to be in by 10 or 10:30. If you're not sleeping by then, it's gonna be rough.
10 or 10:30. Okay, 10:30 is the slot, right?
That's that sweet spot.
Okay, so you got to be in bed 10:30. Solid. Now, when you talk about your daily routines, right? Like, for example, if you guys come in Tuesday, Thursday, we have the night classes, right? Mark does this. I don't know how you got to maybe speak on this, Mark.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
after the Tuesday and Thursday class. class, we're done here at like 8:39, right? So that gives you like an hour and a half to wind down. Is that enough time for you to wind down? And like, do you eat dinner afterwards, or like, what's the case?
I can't speak on that because Tuesdays, Thursdays, I'm usually training afternoons with Alan.
Right. Rich pops in just to say,
Unless I
hey,
sneak it in.
Tuesday, Thursday nights. Every now and then he'll
Some
stop in
meals.
for class, right? And they'll make that happen. Mark, what do
Yeah,
you do
super
after
late coming through.
Tuesday, Thursday? Because obviously, you're still training up until like 8:30ish, right? What's your wind down look like, or how do you get to the 6 a.m.s? What's your keys here?
Honestly, melatonin.
Melatonin? You take melatonin. Okay, melatonin help. Okay.
Supplements.
Melatonin. So you, Rich, your routine pretty much is in bed 10:30, right?
Try to, yeah.
As far as like meals and anything, are you eating like
Oh.
like earlier in the day? Like, because I know digestion is a huge thing with sleep. You know, if you're
That's
not
a
eating
big
at the right
one,
time, sometimes it's tough. When do you usually have your meals?
Yeah, my last meal is probably 6 or 7.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So,
eight would be pushing it, but yeah, just that intermittent fasting windows.
yeah, because if I eat later, I'm gonna stay up later. You know, that's pretty much the key. And I'm out of here 9:30. I'm home 9:30. That's not eating my meal. So I'm not. So that's the key. I gotta eat earlier so I can sleep earlier, pretty much, right? And I'm not gonna be able to run that as well. Maybe some melatonin, like Mark said, right? Morning of though.
Oh, yeah.
Have you always been a morning person, Rich, or is it you're a rise and grinder?
Yeah, this is another cheat code. So I used to work at, everyone knows the after school program, right? Like after school, the students will go to the, recreation or multi-use room or something. So I technically didn't do that. I had a different job, but I did before school. So I'd already have to be in there by 6.
Oh, really?
6:30, definitely even 7. So
I see.
was just
So you kind of
used
grew
to
up that
it
way.
for work. Yeah, just
My
for
lazy
work.
ass, I grew up right next to my school, right? And it was like 2-minute walk. So I could wake up if school class started at 8 o'clock, I could leave the house at 7:55 and make it for class, So I would push the limit all the time for me, my being tardy. Now, again, I guess you're right. It just comes down to habit, right? If it's part of your routine and if you continue to do it, it's going to get better and better, but not guaranteed unless you're disciplined, right? And you actually make the commitment to do it. So you guys are obviously committed. You guys are always obviously disciplined enough to do so. And the other people who aren't there yet, who are trying to get there, what would you say to them for the 6 a.m. To make it to 6 a.m.?
Honestly, I'll be honest, I'm a little bit nice. I'm like, man, if you got to sneak in 6:10, fine,
Yeah,
that's
it's
cool.
fine. Okay. So you're like better late than never, right?
Yeah, better late than never. And
Right.
I'd say, yeah, there's probably only I feel like sometimes when I tell people that, you can kind of just see it in their, their body language, and they're like, oh, I didn't. Sometimes, and I think we're pretty lax, right, Gita?
Yeah. I mean, same thing with me. I learned that from Eddie too.
Everyone.
It's better you show up than not show up at all. Even if you're coming in and say, hey, I appreciate Rich when he comes in, and hey, Rich is here. Again, brings the energy into the room. And some people just want to go in to show support, show love, and that's fine. But again, the guys. The thing that separates that, though, is when you want to talk about guys who want to compete, right? Guys who want to step into that next level. If you're stepping up to that next level, you better be on time. You better be punctual. You better be consistent with training, or else we can't take you seriously as a competitor. Plenty of guys who are out here just for the hobbyists, the guys who just want to learn, just want to train. I'm okay. Come in whenever you want. Talk whatever, chill, hang out. But if you're coming in and saying, I want to be a champ, if you want to be a world champion, you better be on the mat. You better be in here training. You better be grinding, not here chit-chatting, not delaying, because as coaches, we're going to try to make sure we help you achieve that goal. And if we're seeing you not putting in the work, we're going to call you out on it. That's our job, and that's the thing that I really push my coaches to remember is like, hey, you guys have a standard for your students, and you guys need to have a standard for your students, and you guys have to have an ability to communicate with them that will resonate with them, right? It can't be a way where they're confused over what you want, or they don't know what you want. You got to have kind of these one-on-one talks, and then build that relationship with your students as you have already in your past. There's certain guys and certain guys and gals right, who are like really committed, and you're going to put the time and effort into it. But if the other folks are saying that same kind of talk but not putting in the same amount of work, well, you're not really going to be able to invest in them and have that trust that they're going to be able to pull through with it. So a lot of things we spoke about today, Rich, and a lot of things that we can look forward into this next coming year, since it is 2024. Now, as you already know, again, I'm huge on making sure that you guys have your class, you guys, do your thing, you guys run with your, whole system that you have, right? And I'm like, you don't have to run with the way I teach, and you don't have to run with the way anyone else teaches. I want you to make sure you have your own thing going on. So as a last little thing is what would you like to see as the whole team, right? As the whole team coming up for this next coming year, any things that you're anticipating, looking forward to that are, for the gym, for, the whole 10th Planet team, the whole, 10P in general?
Man, that's a hard question. I don't know. I think specifically here, though, I know
Yeah.
you said just with the moves and everything, I know there's going to be more classes, more people, more opportunities. So I'm just I'm just excited. I'm just to see more faces, more people, more work, more options. I feel like it's just going to, just more things to do. Jiu-jitsu wise. Yeah, the more the merrier.
Yeah, I'm super happy to have you part of it, Rich. Again, you've been a huge asset to the gym. You've been helping out so much. We appreciate you. All the students can agree. Everyone knows that you put in the work, and then we're seeing it. We're seeing the results show. So let's continue to push it. We'll get you back on this podcast another time. I definitely would like to hear more, especially when we start to talk about the changes that happen with the students, the gym, and just overall trajectory of jiu-jitsu. Because this stuff is continuing to evolve day by day. As you know, this stuff never settles. So we got a lot more to talk about in the future. And again, guys, if you have any questions, if you guys are interested in classes, Rich, you can reach him out. He's on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle, Rich? Is it just Rich
mine's
Batac?
Boring. Yeah, just my first name, last name.
Rich Batac. He's got it easy to find, right? We can put it up on the screen and all that. So you guys hit him up. You have questions. You guys hit me up if you have questions. Drop into it 6 a.m. one time if you haven't. Just at least once. Just give it a shot. You'll see what I'm talking about with this class. It is a vibe. I know I'm not there consistent enough, but again, I highly recommend it. I highly recommend you guys go out there and show up. Any last words, Rich or Mark, before we close out?
Oh man, just do jiu-jitsu if you ever,
That's right. That's damn right.
If you ever thought about it, because it's the new year for all my New Year's resolution cats. I didn't know what to expect either. Like I said, I went on a whim. So the only way to know is to just try. Whether it's a trial class, maybe you have that holiday deal, just try it. Just do jiu-jitsu. I really do think it's for everyone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mark, anything else before we close it off? All right, everyone. Well, we'll see you guys soon. We're going to get more guests up on this year, and then we'll make sure we touch base with you guys shortly. We'll see you guys. Take care. Train hard. Stay consistent.
Thank y'all.